Hi everybody, welcome to another Schoolscape online webinar. Thank you for joining us. For all of the schools that are looking in, on your right hand side there's a chat functionality. You are welcome to pop comments and say hi there. There is also a questions tab, so if you have any questions, please feel free to pop questions in there. We'll get to those at the end. So Kendall, thank you for joining us. Today in studio with us, we have Kendall from 3P Learning. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having us. It's a great opportunity.
Brilliant. Kendall, I'm going to ask a big question to start with, and I think this is very relevant, but what are the challenges that teachers are facing at the moment, specifically when it comes to remote learning and a whole new landscape?
I think some of the challenges teachers face are similar to what other people are facing, in that suddenly working from home and managing children, the workload just suddenly seems so much bigger for everybody, and managing the stress along with that. So I think that's been a big change, along with a whole new point of learning. I think very few teachers have worked much in the digital realm or had to teach in this way before. So for a lot of teachers, there's been a big learning curve. So there's been a lot more prep time for teachers. They can't really wing it in the classroom anymore. Lessons have to be a lot more content driven, rather than being able to see how you go, respond to students. There's less of that free flow that happens in the classroom. So there's less interaction with the learners. And sometimes I think having a parent in on the lesson might influence the way that a teacher. And I think another big one is also getting marks. I think it was a lot easier for teachers to assess their students when they're in the classroom. They can see how the student is responding. They can see the work that's being done, whereas now getting work back in order to assess it is very much more time consuming and tricky for teachers.
Kendall, I think you've summed it up, and I actually think at the moment, for all of those teachers that are teaching from home, I think it's amazing how they've adapted, have found things. I think it is crazy. And Kendall, if I remember correctly, you are actually also a former teacher, is that correct?
I was a teacher, yes, and I was lucky enough to work in a school that had a bank of iPads, and I was absolutely blown away when I brought that bank of iPads into the classroom, the list of work I could give my students, and then at the end of it reward them with more work but on the iPad. They would do everything as quickly and as beautifully as they possibly could in order to do more work on the iPad. And that's really when I came across 3P Learning and got quite excited about the possibility that digital resources offer students and teachers.
Okay, so we're talking the challenges. What does 3P have? What are the solutions that you provide to solve these challenges for teachers?
Our resources are all online. It's a variety of programs really around your literacy and your numeracy. All of our programs are designed around a gaming element, so it's really about helping students to actually play their learning. So often the focus is not on doing the maths problem, the focus is on the points that you're going to get when you get your maths problem right. And the points that you get each time you answer a question. In Reading Eggs, you gather little golden eggs, and you can take those eggs and go and buy an outfit for your avatar, or a pet for your house, or a new view for your apartment. There's a lot of fun rewards that actually make the learning more about having fun than about just doing the work. And then, of course, the instant feedback that digital resources give students and then teachers. I've always found that with my boys, if they write a test, when they get the test back, they're not really interested in what was right, what was wrong, why is it right, why is it wrong. It'll just be, oh, I've got 60%, I'm not very good in this subject. Whereas when they put an answer into the computer and it tells them immediately that they're wrong, there's a bit of a shock. You know, what do you mean I'm wrong? I can't possibly be wrong. Mom, there's something wrong with the computer. How often I've been told that. But the learning happens straight away because those incorrect thinking patterns are shocked into, actually, you're wrong. You know, try again. Your thinking is wrong. And then it also offers the support along with that. So if you don't understand a concept, there's lots of support around the edges to try and help you come to terms with what it is that you're doing wrong.
Brilliant. I think, Kendall, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the actual different products you have, but maybe first just two questions. Why 3P? Why the name 3P, and how did the business start? I believe it might be ex-teachers as well.
Yes, it was 2 Australian teachers actually, and they started out kind of wanting to make it easier for themselves with activities and ready marked things, and they started on Excel and later moved on to an online platform. But alongside with that was really about making maths fun. That's really what they wanted to do. They wanted it to be an enjoyable thing where children love doing their maths, and then from there progress. So the 3P comes from that. It's practice, it's play, and it's progress.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool. So we just had some feedback. It looks like your camera is bumping a bit. So just
okay.
Aware.
Yes, I can see that.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you. Kendall, I think we're going to get into the products because I think that's what people want to see. Before we do that, for all of our viewers, just a reminder, we do have a questions tab. So as Kendall gets into showing us the products and services that they have available, please, if you have any questions that are relevant, put them in. And then we also have a quick poll. Just interested to find out how many people are possibly already using some of their solutions. So Mathletics, Readiwriter, Spelling or Mathseeds. So I see some of you have already started responding on that. That's on the polls on the right. So thank you for that. Okay, Kendall, back to you. I think the best would be to run through the products. Could we start with Mathletics?
Okay, the founding program. So Mathletics, like I said, it's really all about trying to have fun with maths. So the students actually get caught up in the gaming part of it, and there's a lot of rewards for them, from competing around the world with students doing races for your mental maths, to trying to get the most points in a day and getting onto the World Hall of Fame or the local South African Hall of Fame, and all the while being able to see your progress as you go. So it works on a traffic light system, and when you get over 85%, it works on mastery, you get a green, and between 50 and 85 is orange, and red for under 50%. And you also collect gold bars. Anytime you get over 85%, you collect a gold bar. So you have your curriculum side of it, and then there's a whole gaming side that works on the mental maths, on your multiplication tables, but all really through playing your maths. And then all of that work is linked to the teacher's resource. So the teacher then can monitor the progress. They can see where students are struggling, and they can leave students.
Brilliant. So, Carol, thank you for jumping on. We really appreciate that. Glad you thought about that. Could you talk us through Mathletics? Do you know where Kendall was?
Yeah, sure. I was listening up to her. So, yeah, I think Mathletics really it's curriculum aligned. So I think the content around Mathletics is really quite satisfying to teachers, and that learners have the ability to access a full curriculum and course available to them. The gamification side, as Kendall was saying, it really is about trying to encourage them to do more maths, practice, have the fun while they're doing it, and getting to enjoy doing maths. So I think there's the main aspect is the core curriculum work that students are exposed to, as well as the gamification around it. Teachers also have the ability to assign work, set tasks, set activities for the students. So the teachers can be very specific about what work the students are getting up to as well. So it's not just about them having access to the full student content, but also practicing what's being taught, so that the teachers can really have the consolidation part of what's being taught online. And then, of course, all the work's marked for them, the progress and the results all come through into the teacher center. So it really is saves this teacher a lot of work and effort, in that they get the results back to their teacher center and they can understand the progress of the students within their class.
That's brilliant. So, Carol, maybe just a very practical question. If I was a teacher and I was using the product, could you run through how they would use it? So I've got a lesson plan that it's going to form part of. How would they use the tool?
There's a couple of ways. There's a whole bunch of resource, number one, where you could use it on whiteboard. So there's interactives and videos and bits and pieces that they can use in the classroom, using Mathletics as a source of their lesson plan. They then would assign work from their teacher center, which then comes up in the student center. So listen, it's either you're at home and the teacher's assigned you work. The work that the teacher assigned will pop up on the student center as assigned work. And then the teacher basically would then, the students would have to do that work that the teacher's assigned to them. So if it's in a school environment, they could either do it in their computer lesson, or they do it at home, or they do it in maths class, is what you would rather do. So teachers would really use it as their practice or setting work. It replaces any textbook work or assigned worksheets or those kind of things. They really just assign a piece of work and it's done online. So it's really just can use on the resource side as well as assigning work to the students.
Okay. A question we had Donovan asked, do you make provision for learners to download the program? Donovan mentions he serves a lot of farm schools that do not necessarily always have Wi-Fi, etc. Is there a way to download it, or is it all online?
It's mostly online, and especially if there's interaction between a teacher and a student. Clearly, you've got to be online to get to access the work that the teacher has assigned you. But there are options to use it on a tablet where you can download the app, and it really will update the total content on the app for you, so you can work offline, so you don't actually have to be linked to the internet. But just remember, you'll have to link to the internet in order for work to be updated to the teacher center, or if you're having teacher-student action, you would then you'd have to upload any work that's assigned to it. But there is an offline version.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's great. Another question just came in from Mark on it. Is it CAPS aligned?
There's Kendall's back.
Kendall. You know why it wouldn't let me back? No matter what I did. Sorry.
You're misbehaving, that's why. It is, I'll finish this question and then Kendall can take over. It is CAPS aligned. So we, and it's aligned to a few curriculums around the world. So students have, teachers have, they actually have the ability to use different curriculums from different countries as well, or in fact create their own course if they don't like the way we've set it up. But it is CAPS aligned, yes.
Brilliant. Carol, I think we're going to keep you there, but I'm going to just make Kendall big. Kendall, great to have you. Kendall, Carol's given us quite an overview on Mathletics. Maybe we should jump ahead to your next product, which is Reading Eggs, unless you want to mention something more on Mathletics before we move across.
No, I have complete faith in Carol. I know she can answer the questions brilliantly. Reading Eggs is really our literacy side of things. Also works on that gaming principle, and then lots of collecting of rewards. The wonderful thing about Reading Eggs is that it allows for all your different levels within a classroom. So you can have 30 children, 50 children in a class, all different literacy abilities, and it does a placement test for them, and then they work from that point onwards, from where they are, according to their ability, and they will work at their own pace. So once again, related to that, having fun through the learning, it's also at a level where they feel like, I can do this. This is easy. I love it. And from that, all your foundations get filled out so strongly that it really helps them in their learning. And there's a few parts to the Reading Eggs. The first part is your Reading Eggs, which is the phonics and the learn to read part of it. The next part is Reading Express, which is your comprehension. So once they can read, it works on helping them learn how to decode text, so that it's all about comprehension. And then there's a library of over 2,500 books, all with linked comprehension exercises, and you've got the teacher resource that goes along with it. And when you buy one part of the program, you have access to all of them from there. It also includes spelling and a bit of writing, and there's a bit of grammar and a bit of gaming, but the main part is really your learning to read and then your comprehension.
Brilliant. Kendall, just a question to follow up on that, I think, which would be really relevant to everyone. What's included in the teacher resources? I think people would like to get a feel of, if I am a teacher using it, what does the system do? What is the teacher's component or role?
It's been wonderful to watch, actually, because this year my husband went back to teaching English after about 10 years of not teaching English. And he's been so delighted with having the Reading Eggs resources. You know, he generally, if he's got anything that he wants to teach, he'll go in and he'll search for that concept. And you get PowerPoint presentations that'll teach the grammar, that'll teach aspects of comprehension, ready-made lessons, interactive lessons. There are textbooks. And then linked to the digital lessons the students have, you get teacher PDFs and student PDFs. So if a teacher chooses to assign a lesson to her students, she can then back it up with a PDF that the students can actually have the written practice that relates to what they learned online. And then the teacher PDF just gives them ideas of other things that they can do, either related to the book that they're using or the lesson that they're teaching, or even the spelling.
Brilliant. Okay, there are a couple of questions on that. Donovan says, Reading Eggs is only in English, but the systemic test on Afrikaans. Is Afrikaans version of Reading Eggs available?
I wish it was. I've been hunting for that rich Afrikaans person who really wants this resource in Afrikaans and will translate it for us. But I mean, I think at the moment our market is just not big enough compared to the rest of the world and what they're working with. So much as we try, not yet.
Okay, so it's in English. And then Charmaine says, I've seen a couple of these platforms using a lot of books developed or written in the US, so American spelling. Where are the books on the platform written and developed?
They are, it all comes from Blake Publishing, which is an Australian educational publishing company. You have an option with the books to choose the accent that you actually hear. So you can choose whether you want British, American, or Australian. And then with choosing the British, you get British spellings, UK spellings.
Oh, brilliant. That is very impressive. That's actually quite clever.
It is. It works for the American school because then they can choose the American accent.
Brilliant. I love that. Kendall, is there anything else you would like to mention on Reading Eggs? I know we're getting some questions on pricing and other things which I'll jump into on the end. But is there anything else you want to mention on Reading Eggs before we move to Readiwriter?
No, I think that basically covers most of it. I think we can move on to Readiwriter and see if there are any questions at the end.
Okay. So what is Readiwriter Spelling and how would it be?
Readiwriter Spelling is the sister brother program of Mathletics. It was specifically designed through feedback that we got from teachers with regards to spelling, how to teach spelling well, how to make spelling fun. So it has a variety of games that are linked to the spelling concept that's been taught, but it even goes into the etymology behind that sound, so students get a really solid understanding of English, which is so complicated in its spelling rules, in a fun way. So again, you've got a list of over 10,000 words at the moment. Teachers can add their own words to the list. It goes into the meaning of the word. It also goes into how the word is used correctly in a sentence. So it's never just about the word and how you spell it. It's also about the usage as well.
Okay, brilliant. What age, just actually maybe we've had a question coming in on price, so we're definitely going to get to that and how to register some practicals. Just on this, what age groups are included?
It depends on the program. Mathletics goes from grade R all the way through to matric. Reading Eggs is from grade 0 you can start. It's more ideal for a grade R onwards. And then Reading Express does depend on when they start to read. So they can start as early as grade 1. Officially, it goes up to a grade 6 level, but we often find that in South Africa, we're a bit behind the rest of the world with our levels of reading. So we've even got high schools that are using Reading Eggs up to about a grade 9 level. Even though it officially only goes to a grade 6 level, it includes Shakespeare's. So it's not hard to put high school students onto the program.
Okay.
Readiwriter is growing very quickly for all ages at the moment. So it's mostly the primary school, but it does go up to a high school level. And I've even put my son's grade 11 spelling on as well. So it does go all the way up.
Okay.
And the last one I haven't mentioned is Mathseeds. That's the one that's specifically for younger students on the math side. a lot more like Reading Eggs, and that there's guided practice. It's little cartoon characters that introduce the concept in a real life situation, and then the practice is guided from there. And that's really targeted for grade R to grade 2 or 3, depending on how advanced they are at that age.
Okay. How does Mathseeds and Mathletics, does it then overlap for those younger grades?
It does overlap, but we kind of offer it to schools as a complete maths resource, because one of the things that we found is that your grade 5 or 6 child doesn't really want to be doing the same program as their grade R or grade 1 sibling. So sometimes it helps to have something different, and it just keeps the interest going a little bit longer if they kind of progress into Mathletics. And then we also offer teachers access to all the resources when they subscribe to both programs through the school. So it doubles the offering for teachers.
Okay.
It's very well.
Awesome. So maybe just more on that, because Carol asked a further question. Do you buy the whole package or individual? So do I need to buy Mathletics, Reading Eggs individually, or can a school get everything?
You can get everything, but they do come separately. They each come with their own prices, and obviously the more programs you buy into, the more licenses you subscribe to, the more the price comes down. Reading Eggs, Reading Express with the library and the teacher resource, that's one program. It's linked to Mathseeds, so the structure is very similar, so those two programs go very well together in the younger years. And then Mathletics is very similar in structure to Readiwriter, so those two go very well together in the older years.
Okay, brilliant. And I suppose, because we've had a lot of questions, and it is the $1 million question, how expensive is this? Is it $1 million, or what can you give us some guidelines on pricing?
I do wish there was just one answer that I could just say it's going to cost you that, but it really does depend on the number of students that are subscribed. I work, you can subscribe privately as a parent on the internet, and then it's going to cost you quite a lot. It's going to cost you around 700 Rand a year for your license. But with schools, the price is halved almost immediately. And then the more your numbers go up, the more the prices come down. So it comes down to as little as 80 Rand for a whole year for a license, depending on the program and the number of students subscribed. Your average price is between 100 and 200 Rand per student per year. And that includes your teacher resources, your teacher licenses.
Okay. And is this something that a school needs to take or could an individual teacher just get it for his or her class?
Yes, they can. It does work out a bit more expensive if it's just a class. 30 or 40, we have bandwidth, so over 40 the price comes down again. Over 80 your price comes down, over 200 your price comes down, and again over 600. So it really does pay to get the whole school excited about it, because then you can have competition and leaderboards going on. And we really find that the programs are the most effective when they're managed by the whole school and everybody does it. And we have a little competition between the class and between the teachers. We'll put up a leaderboard again so that the focus is on playing the learning rather than doing the work.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kendall. I'm just wondering, because I think it's very relevant at the moment, a lot of the schools are teaching remotely, but also are going to go back, hopefully, to school. How does the product transition from remote to classroom?
Fantastically, in the same way that it's transitioned from classroom to remote. It was initially designed to be in the classroom and there for the teachers to use digitally and then again at home. And many schools use it differently according to what their circumstances offer. So some teachers will have it in the classroom and will say, this group of students, you go and work on that on Mathletics. And I know that you need instruction from me, this group, you come to me. And they'll move it around. Whereas other schools, they'll only use it when they go to the computer lab once a week or at home if they have access. And some schools only use it for homework. Some schools use it for remediation and support, and then again for extension. So it's really about what you need in your situation and then using the products to the best you can for what you need.
Okay. A question that came through from Charlene. How blind friendly is the program?
Reading Eggs has a lot of audio around it. So for young learners, you have got the sound. Mathletics doesn't have all of that, so it wouldn't. No, Mathletics, I mean, there is some audio that's linked to it, but it would be very tricky for students to work through the audio. And I think that even your exercises in reading eggs, although you've got your audio that goes with it, you need to know, because you engage with the program. So it's going to say, click on or link these words or find the correct word, and it'll give you the audio of the word as you click over it, but you do need to move it into position. So it might be a bit tricky. I'm not 100% sure it would work for blind students.
Okay, thank you. Ever at school, we had a question come in, just if they want to test it. There's a 48-hour free trial for parents. Can schools go on, try that out to get a feel? How does that work?
Schools get a 30-day trial, which was been amazing for remote learning. So I've been saying to schools, even if you choose not to subscribe or you can't afford to subscribe later on, use it through COVID-19 while we're in lockdown. Use the teaching resources, get your students excited about it, and just fill in those foundations while you're not in a room with your children.
So that's incredible. So there's literally a school could, or a parent or whoever could sign up tomorrow. Well, sorry, a school could sign up for 30 days free and use it during this lockdown period.
Absolutely. And, we're there for support and for training and to show teachers how to manage it, because the program has so much on offer. Sometimes teachers need a little bit of guidance in finding their way around. So we're here to offer that support all the time as well.
Sure, that's awesome. That's actually amazing. Say a teacher is listening in and goes, cool, I want to roll this out tomorrow to my learners. How do they do that?
The easiest way would be to go onto the 3P website, and from there you can choose any one of the programs and you can put your email address in, your phone number, say that you want a trial. Some of them lead you into an automatic trial where you can load your own students, but you'll get an email from one of us, because the minute you sign up to that, we get a notification with your email address, your phone number, and we'll make contact and say, look, we're here. How can we help you? What do you need?
Brilliant. I think that's, I think for schools out there, it is a no-brainer, and just confirming, so they can do it for 30 days. There's no commitment after that. Obviously, they can commit if they would like to, but that sounds like an incredible opportunity. Last question, I think we are running out of time. We want to respect the listeners' time, so we try to keep it to 30 minutes. Devices, does it work on any device?
I wouldn't say any device. It does work on the majority of devices. We don't recommend cell phones, although it does work on some cell phones. The problem is the screen is a bit small, and sometimes the operating system of the phone doesn't allow complete functionality. But tablets, iPads, laptops, you name it, they all other devices work. PCs, MacBooks.
Great. Awesome. Okay. We are coming to the end. Is there anything else that you would like to share or other that you believe is relevant for the viewers, just to give them more insight?
Yeah, I'd like to just say, don't be scared to take it on. Don't be scared to give it a try, to talk to us. I think that often when it comes to digital resources, people are a little bit scared that either they could break it, or that they might look like they're stupid, or that it's just not working for them. And I've experienced it myself, and sometimes just not asking a question and just say to everybody here, give it a try. And if you're struggling with anything, ask us a question. We're here to support. We're here to help you operate these systems and make it work for you. So don't be scared to get in touch. Or tell us you don't like the program, or whatever it may be. Okay.
I think you might have some people saying they wanted an Afrikaans.
I wanted an Afrikaans too.
Sounds like it. Kendall, I've just shared on the chat functionality the website address. So if people want more info, they can literally visit the website and then ask for further information. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep, they can actually just go and choose a program, say, I want a trial, put your email address in, and one of us will get hold of them.
Okay, fantastic. Kendall, thank you. You've been absolutely amazing. To all of the viewers, thanks for bearing with us as we jumped in and out. Actually, sorry, Kendall, there's one more question, and I think it is really relevant. So I do want to ask it. Does it use a lot of data? I think this is the million-dollar question for parents.
Reading Eggs does use quite a lot of data because it's got video support. So there are little cartoon characters that are explaining those concepts. Mathletics does not use as much data. But how much is a lot? I suppose it really depends on your circumstances. So Mathletics, not so much. Reading Eggs, quite a lot.
Okay, brilliant.
But that's why, do the trial and see if it works for you. And if it's too much, don't subscribe. But if it works for you, you're away.
Brilliant. I would just like to say on that, I think next week we are going to be doing a live webinar with MTN that is specifically making packages available for parents. I think it's like $100 for 25 gigs a month, month-to-month contract. So we'll keep everyone updated on that. Kendall, that is our time done. Thank you to everyone for viewing. We really appreciate it. We have a lot more webinars available. I know I shared the one earlier about how you can earn SACE points, CPTB points while watching this. Tomorrow, we also have a webinar where we are going to be looking at different products to help you go back to school. So things, sanitizer, thermometers, that kind of stuff. So you can check that out. But thank you so much for joining us. Kendall, we really appreciate your time today. And I'm sure a couple of the schools will be jumping onto the website to try the 30-day free trial.
Super, we'd love to hear from them. Thanks so much for having us. I'm so sorry about my lapse, loss of connection. Thanks for your patience too, much appreciated.
I think this is the real world. I think every teacher knows the experience as well. So
it happens to all of us.
Brilliant. Kendall, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.